guys.
Hey guys.
Welcome back to Hardcovers and Hot Takes. We obviously have a special guest this week. This is my
Very
cat.
special.
Yeah, she's very special. She'll probably sit here the whole time. Say hi. Say hi. But yeah, today we are starting part one of our series that we are reading. So the first little series that we're doing is going to be over Crescent City. So we read book one of the Crescent City series, and we're here to talk about it. And then,
Okay, so going into kind of like the start of this book. So we've briefly mentioned it before, where the reason why I think I am so drawn to this series is the fact that it's so modernized. It is not,
yeah,
everyone riding horses and carriages and kings and queens and everything. Like
I,
Homegirl is like doing drugs in the club and fucking some guy in the bathroom, texting the guy she's about to go on a date with. Like it's some like legit shit. And like she's partying and she's clubbing and there's guns and like don't let Cassie in here.
yeah,
Like
no, don't let
and
Cassian in here.
so I think that's what really drew me in was just that it felt like you could easily dive into this world more because it is so relatable.
Yeah, I
Now,
I really liked that aspect, like how modern it is.
yeah,
Because I mean, I don't know, normally all of the fantasy books that you read or like that we read are based in like old-timey places
yes,
or like just completely different or made up.
right.
Um, but this one was like, oh, it's cool to see, like a fantasy world
Yeah.
where they have cell phones and they have guns and
And
all.
they're like taking selfies and stuff. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
literally,
it
literally.
was a very unique take. Now, I will say there was a lot of controversy when this series first came out because the easiest way for me to describe it, and this is how I described it to you, was that it is very much ACOTAR, book one, right? Where you have this big ass book, and three-fourths of it is just information, and you're like intrigued, but you're also slightly bored because like it hasn't got to the good
Yeah.
shit yet. The only difference is that instead of, this being a 400-page book and it's like 200 pages in, this is like an 800-page book. So
Yeah,
you're like
that's
400 pages in and you're like, all right, I need something. Now, once you get to the part where it's just like, and everything just starts happening, it is an instant click of why all of that had to be the way that it was. I will say that it was a unique writing style for Sarah J Maas, especially because I read ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, and then this series. So, um, obviously, like my favorite one has been ACOTAR, and like we follow, Farah's point of view this whole time. And I feel like, and I'm gonna kind of go at Danny at this one, that I felt like, remember when Danny said that the reason why she had to write in this way is because if we had all the information in their heads, then like at all times, then there would never
yeah,
be
there would be
anything to
no,
write about.
yeah, there would be no story.
And it very much felt that way because both main FMC and MMC had secrets the entire time.
Yeah.
So while I want to
I
be in their head the entire time, you know,
Here's the thing. I feel like the third person point of view writing from The Court of Silver Flames is different from this. Like it's a different third person
agree,
view writing,
agree.
which I enjoyed this one much better. It was very close to the way that Danny writes her books, which is why
Yeah,
I can read Danny's books. Because the third person doesn't bother me as much in this
hmm
type of writing.
It when it's done correctly, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I
So I very much did like this one. But again, it very much was that first book of ACOTAR where it was like, you have just like information,
it
it's a
was
whole new world, like new characters
yeah.
and all this stuff. And there's so many like subplots going on. And then you just kind of get to where like shit hits the fucking fan and then everything's like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, it took me about until probably 50% of the way through to be like completely locked in. I definitely was intrigued. Like as soon as all of the murders happened, I was intrigued about it. And
Yeah.
this is like the first book that I've read that like follows a murder
Yeah.
type scenario because I don't read like murder or thriller books. Like I'm too sensitive, unfortunately, for that. But
Yeah.
it it hit me about probably 50% of the way through, and then I was locked in, and I was like, okay,
Mhm.
okay, I'm starting to, try and figure it out on my own and piece
Mhm.
everything together and all this is obviously something that means more and all of that. But I don't really have many predictions. I definitely have feelings of where like things are gonna go, but I can't be like, I predict that this is gonna
Yeah.
happen. But because like I mean, we had a conversation about it when I finished. I feel like it could have, without the epilogue at the end of the book
Mhm.
from
It
Jessica.
could have ended,
Yeah, it could have ended.
which I think is a very interesting take because I don't think any of Sarah J Maas books that I've ever read have ended like that.
No,
Like
especially not the whole
everything is
series.
always set up for the next book, and it almost makes me wonder where I'm like, I wonder if she wrote it in that way in case like it didn't get big that it could end like that.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense. It was so weird to me because if you literally, some people don't read epilogues. So,
Yeah.
like, if you take that part out,
Then you're definitely confused, like going into the
yeah, you're
next book
definitely
because you're
going to
like,
be confused, which that epilogue is
let's
a huge
talk
part of
about the
the
epilogue
story.
because I highlighted it. So hold on.
Well, going back to Summit, first of all, people find out that Jessica is harboring the library
Yeah.
underneath her antique store.
Well,
So,
everyone knew,
but it
but
wasn't like,
confirmed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she is like the old-timey witch that from that
Hmm.
old land took all of those books, came here, got
Hmm.
accepted under the Under King, and then like hid everything.
Hmm.
And I have a feeling that her and the cat, I like calling him the cat. It's
The
Ada's,
cat.
but the cat, um, are going to join the rebellion
Hmm.
or some sort because there's no way Jezebel would want to preserve that amount of history
Yeah.
without feeling some sort of hatred toward how do you pronounce it?
Asteri.
Okay, that's how I say it. The Asteri. There's
So
like she
here's
puts enchantments on the front door, the iron door, and
mhm.
all of the books to protect them. Like there's
Well,
you
so here's my thing. Here's my thing. I think it says a lot that she feels the need to even have to put that much spells on a door and then spells on the actual objects themselves because of the Asteri. So who, what, and why in terms of like what's going on with the Asteri? Because to like personally, so obviously I do know what's going on with them,
yeah.
but when I read this the first time, like when I was in your shoes, I already had like red flags towards them.
Yeah, there definitely is a bunch of red
Like
flags.
there's something going on. And I gotta figure out how to word this for you. Okay, there's obviously some connection between her Bryce's now powers and
Yeah.
what um the Prince of Hell wants. Now he mentions Note a couple times of like his brothers, and they're in like the upper dimensions, like 1 through 4, and pretty much he kind of like talks about them as like if they're a fucking joke, right? And then it's like him and his other two brothers who are like top dogs, like badass motherfuckers, right? But then my thing is like, um, first of all, quote, I think Hun's father would have been proud.
Yeah, that threw me off because
So
I
they know him. And then literally he says, "You knew the male best."
yeah, and I can't say anything about because I read the first like 3 chapters of book two, and I don't want we don't want to talk about book two
Yeah.
and I can't elaborate. There's definitely more history
Mm,
on that front. There's something that they're going to find out in book two, and it's probably going to change the trajectory of everything.
100%.
Um, I definitely think that like everybody is going to join the rebellion in some sort of way
Mhm.
and like overthrow the Asteri just
Yeah.
because they're pieces of shits. But
Okay, so something that I thought was interesting was that did you notice the mention of sevens in this book.
Yeah. Mhm.
Everything was like in
And
groups of
seven.
seven, and this and seven, and this is seven. Which is interesting because like those are my angel numbers. So I was
Those are
like the
also
whole
my
time.
angel numbers.
Right. And so then that's why I was like, and I knew that. And then I was like, ooh, our angel numbers. I'm like, this is about angels. But I was like, but okay, couple things. So I'm not confirming or denying, but I am gonna give you pretty much the thoughts that were going through my head because this is what everyone was talking about when this book came
Right.
out. When this book came out, everyone was freaking the fuck out because they were like, oh my God, she's been making these like weird tweets, these weird posts. Is she going to join all the worlds? All of the book worlds that she's wrote, right?
So I like sniped a couple of things while I was reading
I
that
did too.
like like
So
we could be
I
talking about ACOTAR here,
mhm.
especially like Rune.
Like for example when they're like gleaming like the first stars of nightfall
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just like lots of mention there's one specific one that's saying it says something about as bountiful as the stars in the sky or the sand on the beach, and it's talking about we're talking about like the horn and like and the power and like being starborn and all that stuff. And so the note that I have here is I'm like, okay, as bountiful as the stars in the sky, I'm like, okay, Akatar and sand on the beach makes me be like, that's Throne of Glass. Now, obviously you haven't read that, but that is like there was like couple major scenes that
Yeah.
happened like
I've heard about it. Yeah.
significant on beach moments. And so I was just like, And then there's even the reference of like Rune's sword, because remember, she still has another book coming out. So I'm not
I
spoiling
know.
anything for you. So I'm like, oh my God, is this the book where like she's gonna do it? Because if you okay, the star that is now on her chest and is like the starborn symbol. I don't know if you put two and two together, but it's the same stars that correlate with Nesta.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So,
Well, and speaking of Rune, because you mentioned Rune swords,
mhm.
there are a couple things with him that I was like, that mirrors Reese. And so there was also a quote that says, but ancient lore whispers of other worlds that exist that would bow to a power like mine and bow to the horn,
I
which
have
is
that. Yeah.
weird. And then Rune has this quote says, power to summon shadows or mists that can not only veil the physical world, but the mind as well, perhaps even telepathy, which is literally a mirror of Rhysand.
No, literally. So then his sword, right?
It's
He
the
says
star
that right
sword.
now it's just a sword and it's not full without the knife.
Yeah.
Azriel's knife.
Yeah.
Literally Azriel's knife. So then I'm like, at this point, like when I'm reading the book the first time, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like noting all of these things. Okay, I sometimes I spiral, okay? And I go down the rabbit hole. And one of the rabbit holes I went down was that what if Reese's mom and sister, like, what if mom is actually dead, but the sister isn't, and she went through a portal, which is in the Starlight Pond in the Spring Court, ended up in another world, and like, what if like Rune is a descendant?
I also think that Bryce could be a descendant of, like, I don't know if Rhysand's kids, or I don't even know. I don't know
Yeah, because well,
how,
we also don't
the
know the
bloodlines.
timeline. Yeah,
Definitely Rune and Reese's bloodline are the same. Like, I don't know if
yeah,
that's,
somehow connected. So
yeah.
there were like lots of like little like highlights that this time when I was reading, I like hit them, because I was like, okay, I want to see like if this is what she's actually doing. Like this next
Mhm.
book is like gonna be crazy, like all this stuff, right? All right, so let's talk about the end of the book, okay? First, Miss My Fire Sprite Queen, when she sacrificed herself.
That was so sad.
It literally is so sad. And also, you don't understand this reference because when she says, like, I'm a descendant of da 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 da, da, and I will not be afraid, like, I am not afraid, I'm here
I
for my
know what
friends.
it is. It's
It's
Throne of Glass.
It's from Throne of Glass. And so, and the first time I read that, I didn't put that together. And then this time I literally was like, oh my God. Like, because one of
Yeah.
the major quotes in there is one of the main characters, his name is Sam.
Yeah. I will
He,
say the reason that Throne of Glass is not high on my priority list is because it's been practically spoiled for me.
yeah,
Like
no,
I'll never
100%.
know like the full story, but I know all of the big parts because
Yeah.
everybody talks about it. And I mean,
Like, I read it when I had no clue about it at all. So, like, it was fine for me. But, like, if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't be able to read it either.
yeah, so I know about the whole Sam thing. That is really sad. It hurts my heart to read it, but
Yeah. So then I'm
I
like sitting there and I'm like literally like, and
so sad.
I also forgot that that happens in book one for some reason. I thought that happened in book two. So then I'm like, you're texting me, and I'm like, I'm like, um, then
I I was honestly like, you know how we are. Like we've said this multiple times on here. We are people to analyze. Like
yeah,
we analyze everything. We analyze Blood and Ash. We analyze Flesh and Fire. We analyze Brimstone. Like we will take everything and like analyze it. And so like while I'm reading these big books, especially this one, I was like, I want to, try and figure out what happened. I had no idea. No fucking
yeah.
idea.
No, this one definitely threw like the first time I read it, I felt like I just like it's just one of those books that you just got to read it and experience it, and then like this second time, now I'm like analyzing everything, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I think something that also I want to ask your opinion on, do you have any inkling about Bryson Hunt?
I know that they're probably like,
I think they're mates.
yeah, I think they're probably soul bonded or something, or like a
Yeah.
mate of that.
I
But
think they're mates because he goes from like literally like he said even too, he was like, yeah, like in my hookups, like all I could think of is, Shahar and like all this shit. And then all of a sudden he was like her scent drew him, like it was the most beautiful smell.
yeah.
She's so beautiful. And then it was just this that like he literally like both of them would say that like when they would like be around the other person, like multiple times it was like the smell of being like at home or being at peace. And like that's definitely like the same kind of stuff that like we had with like Farah and Rhysand and just like it very typical in like a lot of our books.
Yeah. No, I
So
definitely, I
I
definitely
definitely
think,
think they're mates.
yeah. The one thing that surprised me was that the Medwitch was the
Yes, that Queen
that was a
Hypaxia.
good twist.
Yeah, that was good.
And
And
I
also, and I think it's interesting too, because like his dad is trying to like set them up for marriage too.
I
So
hope
I
that
was
they get
like,
married. They would be cute.
they would be.
Um, I also think Rune deserves a happy ending, but that's just me. So
No, I even from the beginning when Bryce like was mad at him and like didn't like him, I've always liked him. I think I've always been drawn to him a little bit.
yeah,
Um, I just think that like from his point of view, like we do see why she felt the way that she did, and it is valid. But when you see it from his point of view as well, where all he wants to do is like he doesn't give a fuck about the throne, like he just
yeah,
wants his
no.
sister,
Yeah,
and she obviously doesn't know that. So then we're like split because it's like, oh my God, my poor baby, like he just wants to have a relationship with his little sister, and then I'm like okay, but also in her point of view, like I get it, like
yeah, yeah.
um
I don't.
I I think something that started to kind of during my reread, I like forgot was that I forgot how involved Danica was in illegal shit and
Yeah,
like
which was
crazy
surprising
shit.
because like Bryce explains that their like relationship
Mhm.
was through and through. Like, you know what I mean? They told
Yeah,
each other everything and they were each other's persons.
yeah,
But Danica ended up being like really involved in some shit.
right, right.
So,
Well, and from what it sounds like, involved for the right reasons,
mhm,
but all the evidence made it look like it was for the wrong reason. And this whole
yeah,
time, Grace was like, no, no, she wouldn't do that. And then like we get to the end where like you think Hunt has like turned on her, and I'm
I
like,
know.
I'm like, not again. Like, I can't do this. And then the whole like Connor's brother thing and everyone like, I think that this book does a really good job of addressing mental health and bullying because it truly shows how you cannot be in a relationship with someone. Like you can just have a platonic love relationship. Like they were
Yeah.
best friends, sisters, damn near, right? And even the pack, where like she's not a wolf, but she was a part of their pack, and how it literally destroyed every aspect of her life. And she was just like a shell of a human being. And obviously, in these books, we read emotional damage. So like we have all these characters that are going through something, and yes, they're not okay, but like this book fully shows you how bullying affects someone, how she has panic attacks, so she has, all of these
Yeah.
issues and it's still following her. And even the scene where like she talks about how she like almost killed herself,
Yeah.
and so
I
I
do
think
agree that it
that
does a really good job of that.
and addressing that there's like not everyone is how they look on the outside. Like and I feel like the reason why I like race is because like I feel like that's me. I just don't
Yeah.
care. I'll do whatever I want. People can think whatever they want. At the
Right.
end of the day, like I know what's going on. And she does that thing too, where even Hunt was like, oh my God, I thought she was a party girl. She hasn't drank in 2 years. She hasn't done that.
Right.
She bought the what's it called? Her pet
Siri.
from yes. And then she bought freaking um
Lele's Freedom.
yes, she bought Layla's
That
freedom and
was
then oh my God. And then when Layla was like,
when
I
she
know I
said
saw
that,
I
I was
snooped in
just
your
like,
desk, and I was like
I was just like, no.
no, literally. But then, right, we're at the end of the book and everyone is watching through a screen.
Dude, that shit was crazy.
Crazy. And okay, it literally felt like I was in, okay, hopefully you'll understand what I'm saying here. It felt like we were in like the Maze Runner, where they're like
Yeah.
watching us on the screens and
Or
this is
like
like
it's kind of giving like Hunger Games where like all of the higher
yes,
ups are
yeah.
watching this.
And the fact that like the moment that they were like, "Oh, the Asteria coming," I knew they were going to bomb it. Like absolutely knew it. And the fact that the wolves weren't going to help and like no one else was helping and it's just Bryce this human half human, but human who hasn't made the drop yet and is the only one. And like all I can picture in my head is just like this like massive gate. And it looks like a book cover. Like all I can picture is just like this like massive gate. It's all dark around and then like light coming through and just like this like
Mhm.
girl holding a sword. Like that's all I could picture.
Yeah,
And
literally.
then when the Prime woke up from his nap because he's fucking like 100 years old and like falling asleep, and he's like, no, there's one wolf.
Yeah,
And there
there's a true wolf there.
a
That
true
shocked
wolf.
me.
And right, and I instantly knew that it was about Bryce. And then um her mom is like looking and is just like dumbfounded and so mad that he's saying this and all this stuff. And then she's like badass. And I will say, when I read this the first time, I truly didn't expect the powers.
No, I didn't. I
Because
wasn't
when
prepared
it
for
did the
that.
flashback earlier to that scene when she was like telling Hun about it, I just thought that she killed all of them. Not that she used
Yeah,
powers.
when they first explained that scene with Danica and she
Yeah.
said, "Close your eyes, Danica," I thought she just like shot them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Especially because, like Hunt had asked her after the shooting range, she was like, have you ever killed anybody? And she's like,
Yes.
when I had to. And I
Yeah.
thought it was just that.
No,
She's
literally. So
not
when I read that the
taking
first time,
powers at all.
so
Not at
caught
all.
me off guard. Like I just felt like there was now the only thing is that I do have it noted in here where there were a couple inklings of it earlier, where, for example, she even talks about it, but it's in the actual moment when Hunt kisses her and she says that it's this like he referred to her scent as Starlight multiple times in
Hmm.
the book early on. And then when they kissed the first time, she said that she felt this starlight awakening in her. And if you don't know what's coming, you're just like, oh my God, it's so cute. She's talking about her heart finally, like, opening
Right.
up. And then
And
even
especially
he was
while,
like,
are you
in the
talking
eyes.
about when they're in the clinic?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially because she had said that the venom like dulled her light.
Yes.
So Hunt is actively kissing her while the venom is being pulled out. So she's feeling her
It
life
like come
come
back,
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was
Hunt
just like,
even
oh,
says in that moment that he swore her eyes were like glowing like
yeah,
starlight. But again, if you don't like, I knew that she
yeah,
had the power, so I like know that and I was like, oh my God, how did I miss that? But then in the moment, remember reading it the first time, it's very easily missed because it just
yeah,
seems like this sweet moment of like, oh my God, they finally kissed. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
um,
I was definitely really caught off guard with that.
the
I
drop.
The drop was crazy. The scene between her and Danica was really sad.
Yeah.
It was
Like
just
the
really
fact,
like sad and heartwarming and like
well, and then not even that, the fact that she traded
her resting spot.
her resting, like her final rest to have Danica there. And then the fact that all the pack was there and like waved at her and like Connor was
Yeah, that
there.
was really cute.
Yeah. I will say I think that her and Connor's brother in this next book are going to rekindle because based off of the
Yeah,
end.
so I was really confused about Ethan because like when in the beginning of the book they introduce Ethan as like the sunball player at the university. And then I looked it up because when all everybody died and he like resurfaced and he was like, you're not welcome here. I like had to look at who he was up.
Mm,
And I guess I must have misread it, but it said like, oh, becomes like Bryce's like lover, or they like get into a relationship. I must have misread it, and they must have been talking about Connor.
mm.
But I was just like so confused for like the first half of the book because I was like,
Yeah.
where's this Ethan guy?
No, 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 no. So
It's
in the beginning of the book, when Ethan is introduced, it literally says that like other than Danica, that was like her one of her other best
yeah,
friends. And then obviously he blamed her with the death and then literally was like, fuck you, don't fucking talk to me like you were fucking some other guy, like da da da. And like even she said too, like she had the first 2 years, like she was so guilty about it, but then even she was like, I did it because I'm fucking scared. Like I was about to like pretty much commit finally to like this dude, and so like I was self-sabotaging. But then even she was like, but I also don't I'm not a wolf, so like I shouldn't be held to wolf standards because in the wolf's eyes, they were like married.
yeah,
But like she's like, but we
yeah.
weren't. Like I'm not a wolf. That
I
doesn't
it
apply to
really
me.
like put a bad taste in my mouth about the wolf pack,
I agree.
but that has a lot to do with like Sabine's control, and I hope she dies. I don't like her.
Yeah, I don't like her either. I will say there was a moment when they were watching through the screen and they were like watching her first light like go up and she started crying and she was literally like, she's not alone.
Yeah, that
I will
was
I will say I was like, oh, maybe you do love your daughter. Just a bit. And just the whole thing was crazy. To be honest, I need to stop being edged and they just need to fuck.
no, literally. Well, that's the other
because
thing is that they
because like
haven't
you're
like
telling me
had sex
we've
yet.
had literally so many scenes and something happens.
Yeah, every time it gets interrupted, and they haven't even had it yet. And now it's just like
Yeah.
you open up book two, and it's
Yeah.
completely. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I don't even.
Um, Now I do think it's interesting that they almost downplay her power though, of saying that it's nothing but just pure light. So I do think that it is going to be
Yeah,
something.
and what's his nuts? The big guy of the Asteri that
Yeah.
gives her a phone call.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's like, keep your little party trick under wraps. And he calls it like a
Yeah.
party trick, essentially.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Like,
it's not a,
and I also feel like the reason why they were willing to free Hunt is because they're more scared of pissing her off
I feel
than
like
like
there's like I said earlier, I feel like there's definitely some more history underneath there.
Mhm.
Um, definitely feel like she has more power than like Hunt definitely has more power because he was already strong with the tattoo on his brow, and
And
then
now, yeah, now
and now he's it's like the med.
I will say I don't remember if this gets brought up in the other two books, so I can't say if it's a spoiler or not. I don't know. But a theory that I have right now that I remember I also had in the first book, so I just can't remember if it was answered or not. I think that his dad is a Prince of Hell.
That would make sense.
Because like he also has uncanny powers like
Yeah, like an
compared
insane.
to most, and he's stronger than most, which is why they've like treated him so differently because he's
Also
so
is the
powerful.
only one with lightning.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I think there's definitely and with Adis saying like, oh, like Adis being the one that knew the man the best. I
Hmm.
think he's probably Adis's brother or some sort.
There's some relation, yeah.
Yeah.
Now there are a lot of theories.
I can't. Okay, I'm just gonna say because it's literally in the first chapter of the second book. The statue that is in the ballet hall in the very first chapter
Oh,
of
you're talking
book.
about the second book.
Yeah, book two, the very first chapter, not the
Mhm.
prologue with the other stuff,
Yeah,
but the very first chapter where it's back to Bryson Hunt. I think that statue is his dad or some type of relative,
relative, yeah.
but I don't know where that goes yet. So, because I'm literally only on.
So there are a lot of theories out there that so there's also a lot of theories on like the book talk community that his name pretty much is a hint that he's going to die by Bryce. And that and then for other reasons that I can't talk about because that would be spoilers, people are like, this means that because they're not actually mates.
Well,
And
his
that
name
it's
is
this and that it's this
Orion, which
other
is
person.
his first name is Orion, which is
Hmm.
a star constellation.
But the story behind it is something about death. And
Like
I don't know, I don't remember what it is exactly,
I know the actual story of Orion's belt and like Orion's constellation because Phoenix's middle name is Orion.
but really?
Yeah,
Mm.
his middle
So
names are OG.
I fucking can't. Um, so yeah, so there's like a theory on Book Talk that his because like she named him that because you know names for her are like a big thing.
Mhm.
Um, that they're not actually mates and
Oh,
that
that's
then
interesting.
they tie it back to the Oracle, where the Oracle said for like the last thing he needs to do is be involved with her and that he needs to stay the fuck away from her.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so and there's another person that will be introduced, not as a love interest, but we'll just get more of their story for a way of not spoiling that. But we'll get more of that story. And so people will be like, it's Hunt is gonna die, and they're not really mates. But then I
That
swear,
would be really sad.
well, no, because I'm pretty sure that Sarah has confirmed that they are.
Mates
Yeah.
are dying.
Mates.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I don't
but
think she
but
would.
you'll understand. We'll like literally like bring this part of the clip back up once we're at I think it's the third book. Yeah, once we're at the third book, I'll explain it. We'll bring it back up. And then you're gonna be like, oh my God, no, I could see
Sarah
that.
J Maas really killed off a main love interest after 3 books, though.
Well, to be honest,
I mean, she killed off Reese, but like, he ain't dead.
and you know what's crazy? I love and
I
thank
think
God he isn't dead, but to be honest, for the plot of the book, she probably should have killed him. Like there should have been a major death. There just hasn't been.
drop coffee on myself.
But
I don't think she would do
there's
that.
still another book to come out,
I
and
know, and you know what? It's probably gonna be fucking 5 years before we fucking get it because
I know because I
our
just saw another
sixth
post
baby.
today that she's confirmed that nothing from now to August is coming out. Like for sure.
I saw a video of an interview that she did and was like, "Oh, I'm working on something entirely new for one of my
No, bitch, don't work on new shit. I want my
oh,
fucking book.
release ACOTAR 6 so we can get Crescent City 4." And I know she's releasing a novella for Throne of Glass. Like, girl,
I don't want that.
let's go.
No, I want Crescent
Also,
City.
I really want Elaine. I'm an Elaine and Azriel girl. But I really want ACOTAR 6 just to see like what happens with Elaine. Because it's obviously gonna be Elaine's
Yeah.
story. But I it's probably gonna be like at least with like Fourth Wing, it's like a year and a half.
Mm. Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
2 years. But
I've
like
I've been waiting years.
I know it's just gonna be continuing to be years.
Yeah.
And I understand like taking your time to write a book, but also I'm impatient.
Yeah.
So
I'm real impatient.
same.
But you'll understand that theory once we're in the third book.
Okay.
Um, and then you're gonna be like, oh my God. And it's one of those things where there's no way in hell it's happening, but if it did, it'd be so good. Like, not in the sense, I mean, no, we'd be heartbroken, but in the terms of like
For the plot and for the writing.
just plotting that crazy of a plot would absolutely just be top tier. Like we're getting at the level of like Jennifer plotting.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like
it wasn't really into
worlds.
the second book that I really like started to put stuff together. So I'm hoping once I read, like get more into the book two, that I'll
Yeah.
be like,
I will say book
"Huh,
two is spicy.
I'm excited."
Finally, book two is spicy. I forgot that like literally nothing really happened in this book. And so I was like, oh yeah, finally. And then I'd be like, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like, and
literally.
I remember sitting in bed, literally going, just fuck. And Tyler's like, yo. And I was like, oh my,
Yeah, pretty much.
like, oh my God.
I also love like the roommate trope. Like that's one of my favorite romance tropes to read is like the roommate type thing where it's like, "Oh, you can stay with me." Like whether it's
See, I
body
don't like that as a trope, but
whatever.
I like the bodyguard trope. So it was like giving that because it was like he
It
had to
is
stay with
giving very
her.
much like Bodyguard, and I
Yeah, like he like if you no 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 okay, let me rephrase. In the sense of like I have to live with you to protect you, I like it.
yeah,
But in like I need a roommate because I can't pay my rent.
no. Most like roommate tropes are like I need a roommate because I have a stalker, or I need a roommate because I have nowhere else to go.
Mm.
So like at least in my experience, but like or like I have a roommate because you're nannying my kid. But the bodyguard is
Bodyguard's top tier. So like the second that Rune was like, oh, you know,
yeah,
Daddy says we have to da 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 da. I was like, oh yeah,
yeah,
here we go. Now
because
I will say that I felt like she had more fun with this book
yeah,
series. Like
I
it
agree.
just feels like this was a lot more fun to write because like we've said, like there's a possibility of her connecting all the worlds, which I'm fucking obsessed with. Like, let's fucking do it.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm for it.
I
Um,
think that's like a 90% chance of that happening. That would be amazing.
right. But you'll understand even why more at the end of the second book.
Right. I'm definitely ready to start deciphering everything in book two, and I'm hooked. I'm hooked now, so I'm excited. There are like a couple other books that I need to read because like we both got our grades for different books and stuff.
Yeah.
But for the next few weeks, it is going to be Crescent City based because unfortunately I can't fit 3 huge ass books into 4 days of reading. Nobody can do that unless you sit there and read round the clock. And I have a job, so.
Right.
But yeah, so
That's
we
that's why we're doing a series. So this is
yeah,
episode one. We're gonna end up having hopefully 3, but could be 4, but most likely 3.
Yeah, it'll be most likely 3. But I mean, it's just like a little mini series, and then once we start Zodiac Academy, it'll probably be around like the same type of thing, like a mini series, because you can't fit 12 books of reading into,
Yeah.
I mean, everything. So I don't into
Yeah.
one episode. So
All I know is I'm ready to get back to book 2 because I am ready for Hunt.
me,
Oh, the wings, the mud, like I need it all. I need it all. I want it and I want it now.
yeah, that's how I feel.
So also wait, can we talk about the fact that she's a curvy girl for once?
Yeah, love that. Love that. I love the diversity.
And the fact that I'm sorry, literally you had me kicking my feet. We'll end after this. Had me kicking my feet where she was like talking about pretty much that like a lot of people when she lived with humans, she was too fey to live with humans, but she's too human to live with fey. And she was like, and half the fucking time the human guys wouldn't even come and talk to me because I had either too big of an ass or too big a tits. And he was like, your ass is perfect. And he
Yeah,
was like,
really.
and then she was like, and I was like, so I was like,
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to read book 2. I'm ready to really get deep into book 2. So
Yeah, I feel like this book definitely set the base for the next 2 books in terms of like their relationship, the characters that we do know, but this like they had to go through all of this to get to the point of ready for us to actually start what's about to go down.
yeah,
So yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Next week
All
we're
right,
gonna be going
next
over book
week,
2,
next.
and I can't wait for Jordan to get to the end of it.
Oh God, I'm scared. All
Okay.
right, we'll see you next week for book 2.
Bye guys.